Hello and welcome to Centurion's Corner, and today we are going to be doing another custom. Another one that's inspired, you know me, I like amalgamating kind of different franchises together and everything like that. So I'm not too sure what, or if the thumbnail will give it away. I don't even know what this guy will turn out like, but I do have a kind of a concept in plans. So at the moment I'm thinking that what I will do is combine him with the Predator. Now I really like the Predator on this one here. I'm just going to zoom out just for a second here, and it just looks really nice. I love the armor and stuff on there, and I've always wanted to do a kind of like a crossover sort of Mandalorian Predator, and I think it would just look really cool. So straight away the concept art is pretty easy. Like we've got all these sort of these parts of armor here, so very sort of rustic kind of gunmetal, which we can sort of bring across over to here. So obviously I will be using X10 for this, for the gunmetal. The actual undersuit kind of area I'm going to try and make look like his skin, but not so much that it's trying to replicate his skin. It would just be like something of a similar kind of clothing in colour. So I'm going to just go for straight buff on this one. It's a really nice tanned looking kind of thing here. And then I'm going to actually use the red brown as well. Maybe the red brown will be his flat jacket, so everywhere else you see this sort of other grey will be the tan, and then we'll break it out with the browns and stuff like that. So I'm not too sure on that, but we'll bring it over. The good thing about this, I'm actually going to really rip this apart as well, so I'm going to use bits off this. This is an old NECA figure that I've had for a very long time. It's a little bit outdated because the limbs are always sort of like in this kind of pose position. You always have to sort of, you can't sort of stand straight, if you know what I mean. You have to sort of, it's in this sort of leaning to kind of way. So I'm going to use his bandolier. Probably might use these skulls. Maybe we could drop them off some on the back around here or something. He could have a bit of a Boba Fett kind of style. We've got his nice sort of gauntlet, sort of like blades coming out of here. We've got these bits as well, which just by pulling them feels like they're going to fall off. And I want to use his braids as well. I want to put the braids onto the back of the helmet, like maybe around down here or something like that. I have to sort of work out a way of doing it. I don't want too many braids like coming around, but just a few that probably like lob down to the side, just to get that idea of Predator. And I'll probably glue those on. So that's kind of it. That is kind of my concept. I'll just be tuning back in with the records, so like, oh, this is what I've done so far and whatnot. So the Axe Woves Mandalorian as well is the best Mandalorian, I think. It just feels nice. It's the great articulation, and we have a removable helmet. So if we want to, we can either just glue it on there, and he's always going to have a helmet that's just stuck in place. It might be a case that I might need to do that, because obviously if I'm adding some extra weight to it, it might just seem to want to sort of just fall off. Or I could find a head that it feels really kind of snug on there. So I've got a few spare heads around, so I'll have a look. But for the meantime, we're just going to start painting these up. So I guess I'll see you in a jiffy. I've just finally finished off most of his undersuit and here. So we've got brown. I've browned this off even more to match the same brown as well, and then we're done buff as well. So these are the two colours I've used so far, which is XF57 buff and XF64 for the red brown. Still need some more work. There's some bits there, but I am doing a black wash over the top of it as well. So detail wise not too bad. It's still a little bit tacky in certain areas, so I need to leave them alone for a little bit. But next up I'm just going to use the gunmetal. I'm hoping it's not going to be too dark. I kind of want it to be this kind of sort of like silver in here, but sometimes it comes out a little bit dark. If it does, I'll probably put a little bit of chrome inside there. And then I'm just going to apply that to all his armour parts around on here, and I probably will actually make his neck seal up the top here black as well. So next time we will see you, hopefully he will be a little bit more armoured up and looking a little bit less axe wise. Another stopgap, so I've kind of sort of like made him all gunmetal here as well. It is still a little bit sloppy in places, don't worry, he's not completely finished yet. Once I've actually got most of the actual paint on there, then we'll go around and finish off all those little details at the end. But so far he's completely covered in buff of this XF57 there. He's got the brown on his torso. We have blacked off here at the top here for his on the neck, and then all I've done is the gunmetal over the top there. I've actually done these sort of loop parts around here on the top of these boots just to give him a little bit more kind of armour wires and stuff on there. I've gone off and chosen the head. This is the Red Ranger from Dino Fury. I thought he might make a nice head on here. It fits quite high up, but I will need to put some Vaseline on here, and then we'll fill this up with hot glue, and once that'll go on there, it'll stick on the ball peg very nicely. And it's quite up high as well, so it'll give him a little bit more height. And then the helmet is completely gunmetaled as well. I might even take off the rangefinder, to be honest with you. I might do, I'm not too sure. It is painted actually. I might even do that red. I'm in an eye whether to do the visor red actually. I never really like it though when the Mandalorian's got different visor colours, but I thought it might be quite cool with the glow, because once the helmet and all that on place, it'll look pretty cool. So he's looking quite nice. I've gunmetaled off his jetpack as well. Got some blue still coming through, but I will be putting some chrome and also some black over the top of any of all these metals as well. But looking at the actual Predator itself, I might actually nick some of these bits off. So this bit here is a little bit asymmetrical, which I don't like, but what I might do is actually just cut it from down here and down here as well, and I might just stick that to his little tabard area. On the back, I think I might cut this completely off and just stick this over the top of this part as well. So hopefully that will look pretty cool. And then we've got this bandolier as well, which I'm thinking I might put it around him, but sort of like minimise it down a little bit. So yeah, it's kind of going into the main kind of parts now by putting all these extra bits on here. I might even start taking these off and start applying them to the helmet and whatnot. Still needs more paint on there looking at it. So yeah, kind of liking how he's coming out. I really like this colour scheme actually, it's pretty cool. So well, it's a very cool kind of sort of combo over. So I might even finish it by the time we come back to next, or it will have a few more details before I go off and apply more details, because I really like this kind of like this textured looking sort of armour stuff on here. So I might even get a bit of a sponge and put a bit of black and a bit of silver over the top of that, just to make it look a bit more sort of weathered and beaten. So I guess without further ado, let's crack on even more. So what I've done so far now is I wanted to take all these little bits off, which I've taken off the Predator's head. As you can see, I've cut them all off from around there, but I can't glue it straight to the helmet because I'm not too sure where the helmet's going to line. So what I've done is used a hot glue gun, covered the ball peg in Vaseline, which is just this sort of stuff, so when you put the hot glue on there, it's not going to stick to the actual ball joint. So smother the ball joint in Vaseline, fill the head with the hot glue, and when it goes on there, it shouldn't actually make contact, and you should still have all articulation around, and it's not going to fall off any given time. So now the helmet, we can actually just fit that on there, and it looks pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is just use some sort of like super glue now, and figure out a way to stick these kind of like dreadlocks to the actual helmet around. I've got plenty, you know, so we've got the whole back part here. If I need to cut them off to sort of rearrange, I will do so, but I'm hoping that I can sort of fathom a way to sort of glue them onto so they kind of look natural to the actual helmet itself. So yeah, that will be the next part. Once that's kind of done, and then it's kind of like finalising all the details. I've actually taken this off the Predator as well, so we can actually, let's just take it off there. So this will look pretty cool actually. If I cut this down and we get it in the right place, it'll look quite nice as well on the guy, when we put the extra details in there. So yeah, it's coming together quite nicely. Can't wait to finish this one off actually. Right, so far, just doing a little quick update before I move on to the next, because I think it's going to be a little bit itty-bitty now. So with the helmet, I have added on the dreadlocks. The paint and some bits need to be redone, which is fine. I just need to get all the bits in place before adding the extra details and whatnot. So this actually fits over the top of the head now, so he will start looking like this. And not too sure about what's going on up here, but I think actually looking at it, it's not too bad. It's just from certain angles it looks a little bit odd. Maybe once I start repainting that in there, it might look alright. I might have actually put a bit of black in there so it kind of blends in a little bit more. On the belt as well, I've kind of naked the Predator. He's only got this little patch around there. I've actually cut off his belt and gave him that extra little tabard, and around on the back as well he has this part as well. So yeah, that's where I'm at to. I've got this extra little weapon if I want to put it on there, that come off his belt somewhere, so I could attach it to one of these maybe. We've got the bandolier to put into place, but what I'm going to do now is add the extra details on here. I'm going to try and rusk up his armour a little bit so it's kind of more looking like the actual Predator, so probably speckle with black and silver at the same time over the top of it. It's going to be a little bit of practice, and yeah, I think we might be sort of somewhere getting around. I might get a gun down marker to see these, like it has this sort of black mesh, or the kind of like fishnets. I might even add it down his arms with a gun down marker or something like that, but that's going to be quite hard to do, I think, because the figure's going to be moving around quite a bit. Maybe I might add it just to this part here, so it looks like he's got like a mesh underneath, and I think he'll start getting into place very soon. So this might be the last, or you might see me again before I do some other bits. Let's go. Okay, so pretty much there, we're about 90% complete. I just need to do an extra few little details. So I've added on the extra parts down here using the gun down marker. So he's actually got this sort of webbing all around on these sort of like under armour around on here. I've adjusted the sort of, I don't know what you call it, bandolier, get my words out, which is, I've not snipped it, well I did snip it, but I've just overlaid it and then glued it on together there, so I've not actually completely just cut bits off because I weren't too sure, so I just pulled it around till it got to the place there. I've actually added red on his like braces and stuff on there. I've added on his sort of like spikes or claws, and then with the silver as well, I've added it with the silver brush here, just sort of like stippled it all over, and it come out really nice. I probably will be using that again soon. It looks really cool. I really like the effect on there. With the helmet, I've painted it up a little bit more and also added red on here, so when he's looking through his visor and stuff, it's kind of looks like when he's using his thermal vision and stuff. The only thing is, I'm a little bit worried about like these little bits. They just look like they're sticking up a little bit too much for me. So my last part before I kind of go off and we'll put him on the shelf is I'm gonna cure some milliput, which is two sides of this 50-50, put it together, you know, give it all this sort of, make it all warm, and then I'm just going to sculpt it in so it kind of looks like it blends more into the helmet, paint it up into the sort of silvering on there, and then he's pretty much done. I might do a little black wash over his undersuit and stuff, but that's pretty much it. So the next time I see you, we'll have a little overlook on the shelf, so we'll see you very soon. So here we are, all finished and done and ready to join all his other brothers on the shelf, and yeah, I'm really chuffed how this one's turned out. You know, when you have a concept in your head and you think, oh, that would kind of work, I'll put that with that and that and that, I wonder if that'll work, and yeah, I'm just so happy how it has actually physically turned out. So before going into the Mandalorian himself, we'll just have a quick overhaul of what we kind of used here. So paint wise, we have used flat black here, and we've used that as a wash and also just on his neck seal, and I've used it to it probably been better to get gloss for his visor, but I've used it for his visor as well as I went over in certain places. Flat red on certain parts of his gauntlet and on top of his rangefinder. I have used this one here. Red brown, we have used that on his flat jacket, that's underneath his armour and all his belts. We have used buff, and that is for all these undersuit armour, which is all around on there, and the tan parts. We have used gunmetal X10, and that's for all his metals, and then we also used chrome silver, and that's also for his other parts of the silvers as well. And last but no means least on this, we have used the Gundam marker, and that's a really fine tip. It's a really nice kind of detailing extra part there if you need to put some black on there. And that was all for this crisscross all over his undersuit or his flat jacket. And then we have used some milliput, which I will show you in a minute, but you just combine these two together. And I've done my first bit of sculpting for a very long time, even though it's very minor. I have used that. We have used Vaseline, and that's to go onto his neck, on the neck peg, and then we used hot glue as well, so these two don't connect together, so you've still got that full articulation there. So yeah, here he is. I guess we're going to call him the Predatorian. We have the Praetorian, so this one could be the Predatorian. And yeah, thanks to this guy here, we have literally taken off all his extra dreads and stuff around on there. We just cut that off there with a nice Stanley. It's actually really cool. It's quite a cool face sculpt on there, and this could be his trophy, I guess. And on this one here, this is the poor old NECA figure that we've already seen through the actual review on this part here, or the making of. Really nice details on this guy, but I do have another Predator at hand, and this one was actually by far the more superior one. It's more based on the original Predator, and yeah, I just prefer the look of this one, to be honest with you. And he actually stands upright as well. His legs are more sort of straight and whatnot, even though his things here did go a bit brittle once, so I probably will have to give him some new blades. But yeah, he's definitely a lot better in my opinion. So yeah, now we can take a full look at the Predatorian. Get my words out for him. But yeah, I'm really happy how he has turned out. So around on here, we've got that silvering at the top here, and we've put all that extra, all that other parts down there. You saw the details as I was making the actual figure itself, and he just looks really cool. Just looks great. So we've got his other pistol here. I haven't added anything to that. It is a little bit loose in this hand, to be honest, so I will take that out because it probably will fall out. But you can actually see all the other details that I've added here, so the red and the other parts there. So it's a bit like the Predator when he's going to set off his bombs and whatnot. Around here we've got that extra kind of belt that we've taken off the original Predator. That was already attached to it, so I've just kept it there. And then around on the front, on those, silvered off all his little buckles and whatnot for it in line. Got a little bit more red here on this sort of gauntlet, and then glued on the claws as well into place. I would like it to be a bit more spread apart, but because of the way the sculpt is, I should have really kind of sanded it down so it would have been a bit more stretched. But then I kind of like it as well, where it's kind of sort of like gone into two into one in a way. It looks quite nice. And then we got the bandolier that was originally from the Predator as well. And then we've got all these extra dreads that we've added to the back. Unfortunately, with the jetpack, it was just like I just left it at the end. It's around here somewhere. I didn't add any more paint to it. I just thought I would use it for another customer at another time, because he can't wear it. With the helmet on and stuff, he can't wear it, so he will just be one of those Mandalorians that doesn't wear one. He can have super jump or something like that. And yeah, the dreadlocks looking pretty cool. Where I've glued it onto the top, I've actually then used the milliput into like a sculpt around here, so it kind of looks like it's all welded in at the top there. And I'll show a little picture up here how it kind of looked once it was done. And then just gone around with a bit of a black and a bit of the gunmetal, just to sort of like combine it in. You just haven't got that instant step now from where it was a kind of smooth running over into it and then going over. So yeah, looking really cool, really happy how it's turned out. Taking that off, we can actually look at this guy. It's not probably the greatest head that I had, but it was the only one that really could fit with the actual Predator to give him a different head, even though it is the Red Ranger. But at least he looks a bit different, you know. Maybe I could add a scar on there, make him look a little bit more kind of ready for action, because he just kind of looks a bit wimpy compared to his actual armor look. But hey, there you go, you're not going to really be seeing him that often like that. But I just kind of like it because the head was a little bit higher, so it gave him a little bit more kind of movability around with his dreadlocks on. But yeah, just bringing this guy up, you know, you could put him in all these sort of like vicious poses and stuff like that. He just looks great, looks really fantastic. I'm so happy how this one's turned out, to be honest with you. And yeah, just having those extra little details of all the Gundam marker around, giving that kind of web mesh underneath there, looking pretty cool. And yeah, just awesomeness. And this was my second kind of Mandalorian custom. And if you're a fan of the channel, you'll probably remember this one here. He's kind of falling down, but yeah, I made a samurai one where he's got his little cape around on the back. And again, it was another Power Ranger inside here, and we had Tommy inside this one here. So yeah, so I've now got 2 custom Mandalorians, and yeah, just super happy to have them, and I'm really happy how they're coming out, to be honest. And yeah, you can just sort of see how well I'm progressing in a way, doing some painting and stuff. This one actually took me about 3 or 4 days to complete. I didn't rush out there to do it. I just slowly did a bit each night, let it paint, let it cure, and yeah, really cool how it's come out. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think of this one. Am I beeping my own horn, or do you think it's really cool? Let me know. You can subscribe, ding the bell, follow me on Instagram where you see more pictures of this guy. You can also join the channel for wherever you are in the world. It could be 99 cents or 99p. And I'll see you next time. So take care and see you soon. Bye!